Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. I'm excited today to share conscientious work that we all can do and have within us. But before I get going on that, I want to honor my children, Christopher, Stephanie, and Alexander. I am very blessed to have them. Number one, we love each other. They take care of me. I take care of them. And I just want to say thank you to my children for being who they are. They're all great musicians. They're characters. They're crazy. They're silly. And they're wonderful. And I love them so much. I just had to show a picture of them as babies because they're quite old now. Not that old, but I love them. So thank you, Chris, Steph, and Alex, for being my kids. Now I'm going to go on and thank Tim Riley for being my director excellent. He seems to know what's going on with me because we've been doing this at least 10 years, so I'm very grateful, Tim. So I'm going to talk today about the infinite way, which Joel Goldsmith was the messenger for. I mean, he was a Christian Scientist. He was born in the late 1800s. He died in the early 1964. So, you know, he's a rare person. He was a Jewish retailer from Brooklyn. And all of a sudden, his mom said, gee, you want to find God? And he said, yeah. And so he ended up noticing a healing for his father and for himself through Christian Science. So why not go for that? Of which he did. He was a first reader in Boston. He really, really loved it and learned from it about letting go and letting God. But then he noticed some dynamics in the church and the dynamics about human stuff. And for him, he was open to receiving the infinite way. The infinite way. It's a little far out. And frankly, those of us who love it and who study it and maybe teach it, I mean, we're set apart from the rest of the world, and I want to say that so that you don't go off like I have innocently done and blab to your friends about what you think and feel, because it's not for everybody. There's something about getting ready for it, and for me, losing a husband at 26 and having 2 babies under the age of 1.5 years really set me to work on the pain that I had and how was I going to keep going. And I always had that Christian Science background with a father and practitioners, my Chatterton practitioners in the 1800s, my God. One of us 4 Chatterton girls had to pick up that baton, and it was me. So whatever it was for, I'm honored to be a Chatterton and to share what I can, and I thank Joel Goldsmith, of which I can't say enough. Joel, to me, every time I do a program or I read a book and I think about what he shared, I don't know how he was ready for that. I mean, it blew his mind. I mean, he wasn't from here. And when he got that message about what life was about conscientious work, about being an individual entity, open to sharing and open to listening to the still small voice, I mean, that's far out when you think of being born into a world that's human. Hey, he mentions this something like the baby's born and don't drop it and don't let the feet get cold. I mean, all the first messages we get were pretty negative. They were scary. Life and death was scary. Good and evil was scary. We were born into that. So, my friends, don't be hard on yourself, because I've been hard on myself. I mean, it's what the world looked like. You know, Adam and Eve must have really taken a bite out of that apple, because all I can say is all of a sudden they were naked. And I don't know if that's how the ball started to roll, but whatever that was about, we have this world which we can overcome with knowledge. So here's the knowledge. We work at dissolving life and death. You know, we're raised to think when we die, it's going to be scary. There might be a bonfire waiting for us. He mentions even the spiritualists who are very much in touch with the other side have never mentioned hell, have never mentioned pain and suffering. So that was a good thing to hear from him. And also just to honor the fact that, you know, this isn't this is not for newbies. This is for folks who are ready. And frankly, the people who like the infinite way often are teachers, they're students, they've studied hard, they vibrate to it. And why they do? I don't know why I did, except I can see the pain of my loss having me to be open. I had to be open to a way to keep going myself. So we teach, and we teach, and we teach, and guess what? As we teach, what leaves the heart is exactly what comes back to us, which is a lesson in the infinite way that the worst person you know, the sinners, all the people that are supposedly bad are not. In our vision, if we want our hearts to be filled with who they really are, we must see who they really are, even if they don't know. It's within them anyway. We're one giant soul here. We're all perfect. We're all whole. We all have the still small voice, and I will say that over and over again today, because as we sit in silence, which is what we need do to let go of the nonsense, of the fear stuff, the fear of being sick, having a disease. You put the TV on and you're being sold something for the illness that you don't have, but you listen to it. So that's this world, which we were born into, so don't be hard on yourself like I'm trying not to be, which I am. And I'm going for what works for my heart to feel good, to look at anyone who doesn't even care about me or who doesn't like me. I don't care either. All I know is I will only see their love. The love that's within them is within each one of us. Yes, we're whole, we're complete, we're perfect. We have everything. And you know what? We have to maybe look at the revelators in the past, the Hindu karmic people who had karmic law. And Jesus, what did he say? I mean, in the gospel, as ye sow, so shall you reap. So it takes the responsibility off going to God saying, will you fix this, please? That's got nothing to do with God. You are responsible for what you sow. So that's critical that you get that. Don't go to God who you say, why hasn't he punished this person, or why is he letting these gorgeous people who are so perfect, why isn't he honoring them? Leave God out of this. Your source comes from within the God energy. So with that in mind, the God energy is totally perfect. All it sees is the glory of God in everyone. And that's very liberating, especially when you end up sort of, your head is gnarling about wanting to get back at somebody, and then you realize you don't know them. Think about that. You do not know anyone's lifetimes. You don't know what they've dealt with. You're clueless. So to judge them, guess where that comes from? You. What you think you're looking at, what your experience, what you've picked up in the human dimension, which could be what you're looking at. So that helps us be clear on erase it. It's so nice to have love come back to you, because and it's an impersonal love, so it's impersonal. You can look at the whole world with all the love that you have in your heart, because you're filled with the love that's in your heart. So think about the Hindu karma. Think about what the Oriental folks knew about sowing and reaping, and what Jesus knew in the gospel before Christianity in the West came with all the good and the bad, the judgment, the hell, the suffering, you have been naughty, so you're going to get punished. In our Christianity in the Western world, it has a set of books that weigh you when it's not the truth. The truth is what the revelators in the past, Buddha, Jesus, all the revelators in the past knew about the perfection that is within each one of us. How we look at another is what we see. So that was the truth way back then. And then Christianity started to bloom, and we had people who wanted to do rules and wanted to judge. Judge not that ye be judged is something to remember. And then, you know what Joel says, which is so good? You should have joy with what you do. Think about that. If you go to work and you're looking at the clock and saying, I want to go home, or am I doing enough, or are they paying me enough? That's not what we're here to do. We're here to have joy. And how do you have joy with your work? You find something you're good at. You serve in a way that is you. I mean, you all have talents. Some of you are lawyers, and you can be a very religious or spiritual lawyer. Whatever you do can have the essence of love behind it, no matter what you do. So think about this, friends. What do you like to do? What turns you on? What have you read? Also, think about the fact that you've been taught through reading and through studying and for hearing lectures about anything that isn't the essence of the love that you're supposed to be looking at all the time with everybody. You got to get rid of those thoughts, and you have to say, that's not me, that's not who they are, and so good for me, for my vision. But here's a wonderful thing to think about. When you go to silence, which is where we're to go, how do you let go of all this stuff going on here, except to sit in silence? Breathe deeply. Grace is waiting for you. Grace is your sufficiency for everything. It's waiting for you because it's there. You are loved. The still small voice wants you to listen. So you ask, I'm listening. Still small voice, I'm listening. Take my day. Where are we going? What are we doing? You're my life. And guess what? The still small voice is the best life you'll ever have. If you live alone, you're not. You've got a source within you that cares for you and takes care of you. Excuse me. So listen, but you won't hear anything if you don't ask. Got that? So ask in your meditation, in your communing within. Be vulnerable. That's the place to go and let your feelings hang out and talk about what your needs are and what you need advice about and what you need the words for. The still small voice will give that to you. I guarantee it. That's your world. That's your new world, is the still small voice. Jesus knew what he was doing. He came here as a disciple. He wanted us all to know about what we're sowing and reaping, and it was all up to us. He had no blame. He had no good and bad. I know when Joel wrote The Thunder of Silence, what came to him shocked him so much about no rewards and no punishments. I mean, even he, after he received that and spoke about it, had to sit down and pull himself together because he wasn't ready for it either. There is no reward and there's no punishment here. That's a powerful message. There's only impersonal love. So, as a matter of fact, he mentioned, talking about that to a group, and he didn't know how many of them actually picked up on what he was saying about no rewards and no punishment. Because the gifts we have within, we are individual members of consciousness. Consciousness is whole. It gives us everything, but we're individual students listening for what are we going to do with our life? Where can I serve? And if you ask and you don't know, you will get an answer. There is something you're all very good at and you know it, and maybe you don't want to hide it anymore. Maybe it's time to let that out. And think about joy. What you do should be joyous. And we weren't trained. We were trained to get money for a living, to pay mortgages, to worry about the next disease that's coming down the road or what we inherited from somebody. Can you imagine being a little kid being born into a spiritual family that was told you're only love? I mean, that's not the way we're all raised. As Joel says, don't drop the baby. Don't let it get a cold. All the fear that we're born into. So I'm trying to be kind to me. So I'm trying to help you be kind to you as well. So the still small voice, my friends, is your life. You're not alone. You've been created You're part of a whole big soul. And can you imagine, I keep thinking, how did God ever do that? How did he create us all to hear from him individually? Can you imagine? That's pretty awesome thinking. How does he speak to all of us individually and know when we're talking to him, he's going to answer us and take care of us? How's he going to know that? To me, that blows my mind. And as I say, with the infinite way, we are set apart from the rest of the world. And what we have to remember is not everyone is ready to hear what you know from your own experience that's really true and real. And so be careful, and I'm learning that. Be careful about who you share with. People who watch this program or who have lots of websites on the infinite way, they're there. They're looking for this because they know this works for them. This works for them. So don't try and convince anybody of your special mission. You know what? It helps also. Let's say you have to give service to somebody with something you need to say to be supportive. Even if it's not what you deep down inside feel, you can say what needs to be said, but inside you can be correcting that with what you really know. You can do both. So you don't set up controversy. You don't set up having to wrestle with something. You can agree with folks on what they're dealing with. You can be compassionate with anybody who's dealing with a problem. You can listen. But you can also quietly be shedding light on them, seeing the love in them and the potential in them and what they are capable of is the gift you give them. So that's how you are a healer. You can do it invisibly with whomever you are with, whatever group, whatever you are doing. You can be invisibly sharing what you know from within you. And you don't have to say it. You just know that's what life is about. Yes, Adam and Eve certainly did something's going on here where we've had to work on this. And I keep kind of wondering where we're going. And all I know is Paul in the Bible did know. And it's not written down so much, except he did say, I know we are life eternal and we're immortal. I know we live forever. Paul knew that. Jesus knew that. All the revelators in the past, before Christianity got boxed into judgments and good and evil and all that stuff and rewards and punishments, all those revelators knew the truth. And we've got to go back to that. And we can, because they existed and they've given us their gifts. And Jesus, oh my gosh, did he give us gifts. He taught us to heal. He taught us how to think, how to feel. He raised the dead. He healed sickness. He knew. He came. His Father sent him. And he took quite a beating, but not to those of us who appreciate who he really was and knew who he really was and who really honor him. So my friends, if you feel set apart as an infinite way student, teacher, someone who's trying to figure out what can I do with my knowledge of the infinite way, you will find a path. You might write a book. You might preach. You might run a group. I mean, you'll know. You'll be given if you ask. Asking is critical. We have to ask, and we have to sit in that silence. We have to sit in that silence. So every moment of every day, think about this. Every moment of every day, remember who you are. Remember to listen. Remember guidance is there every minute of every day. It's profound, friends. And you know, especially when you're vulnerable and need help with something, ask about it. Talk about it. Talk about how you could handle something. And believe it or not, you will be talked to. You'll hear it. And that still small voice is so interesting. It can come as a hunch, as a whisper. It's fascinating. Or you'll see a sign on the road that's the answer. I mean, I get a kick out of prayer answering because it can come through something you hear a neighbor says, but it's still, you're getting an answer to something, and you'll know it's the answer because something inside you will say, oh my God, I can't believe I just heard that. I can do that. That makes sense. I can be someone who serves humanity as a whole. Now think about the fact that we're all one big soul. As you overcome the human scene, you're supporting the real scene. And you know what? We're getting rid of the human stuff. We're burning it off. I love that thought. We're just burning it off. We're raising the spiritual world that we're in. Believe me, we're one soul. We're raising our spiritual world by contributing with a still small voice, with vision, with the passion that we have to want to serve and love one another. So love thy neighbor. When you see your neighbor, remember, my friends, you are looking in a mirror at you. You can't judge them. That'll come back on you, and you'll be the one that's judging you. You're looking in a mirror. I love that. Let that light shine back on you. Sit in the sun. Sit under the sun. The whole image of the sun burning down on you is constant. It never leaves you. It's there 24/7 anytime you need that light. And we work on it. We can wake up in the middle of the night and remember who we are. If you need advice, be vulnerable, ask. You've got a buddy within, a great buddy. The source of your life, you are an individual expression. And I want to end on that. You are an individual expression with a special mission and talent to serve the whole and raise consciousness, raise the spiritual power in this world, because we're, as Paul says, we're home free. We have immortality. We have eternal life. Remember that, friends. You've been here forever, and you're going to be here forever. You have eternal life. You've been here maybe many times, I don't know. But you're eternal, which means when you were thought of, you're still here, and you're still growing and changing, and I love that. Anyway, my friends, I'm going to wind down by thanking you for joining me on Awake in the Dream, and thank my children again for being in my life and being pistols. They're a little crazy and wonderful and love and warming, and I love them dearly. So again, thanks for watching Awake in the Dream. We'll talk to you again soon.